The market has had a nice little rebound over the last week, but the question is it going to hold? Is this a real rebound or is it another trap within a broader bear market? Because remember what happened last time, right? We thought this was a temporary bottom and we thought we were going to get a multi-week retracement higher. And there was also potential for this to be the long-term bottom. But then what happened? We got that inflation print and everything turned around. And we had a terrible, terrible week. So once again, we're in the same situation. We're getting this rebound. This could be a temporary or permanent bottom. Or we could make a lower high, turn around and make a lower low, which would make perfect sense in a bear market. So let's jump into our research from macro ops to see what's going on. Right now in the macro ops portfolio, we're looking for bullish setups within this dominant bear trend in equity markets, so in stocks. And the reason we're doing this is because we've been holding high amounts of cash all year. We're currently at 83% cash, which is good when markets are dropping because that cash gives us optionality. And you guys know how important it is to protect your risk so that you have cash left over to deploy when markets do turn around. That dry powder, it's important. But having that much cash does come with a high time cost, especially in an elevated inflationary regime. So cash is great to keep yourself protected, but you don't want to be in cash too long because then you're going to miss out on some great gains. So for example, if you're using the Fallible system that we all use, things were getting pretty dicey on this way downwards because we just made a new rotation on the first, right? Which was right here. And we were expecting that retrace and I was thinking, oh, awesome, that's great because we're getting in right as the market is going to turn around. And sure enough, it went the other way. And out of 5 positions, we got knocked out of 1. But now the other 4 are rebounding so hard as the market turns around here. And our systematic approach of when to buy and sell worked out. We got out of 1 position, we cut off our risk in case the market kept falling. But we stayed in the other 4 because our stops were set low enough so that now we're getting this rebound. So again, you want that cash optionality, but you also don't want to stay in cash too long because then you'll miss out on gains. So if, for example, this was the long-term bottom, we'd be in real good shape with the Fallible system because we're going to head higher from here. And the 4 positions that we're in, soon to be 5 come July 1st, they'll take off with the market even faster. And that's how we'll beat the market. But anyway, on the macro ops side, we're continuing to operate with the expectation that this is a bear market until the Fed shows signs of shifting gears due to lower inflation and the market is able to make a higher low, accompanied by large consecutive breadth thrusts. So say if the market, this is the NASDAQ right now, say it goes up and kisses this 50-day moving average and then turns around. Well, as long as it turns around and makes a low a little higher than the previous low, then we could say, hey, maybe this is really a long-term bottom. If it breaks this low and goes lower, well, guess what? We're still in this bear market. We got ways to go. So even if a turnaround does happen, doesn't mean this is not the bottom. We got to see where its new low will be. And the other thing we want to look for is large consecutive breadth thrusts. And we talk about this all the time. We want all the stocks in the market moving together because that's what makes up a strong market, not just a few moving by themselves dragging the index up. So when you see up moves in the markets with breadth thrust, meaning volume in the market surging, that's a good sign. And you want to see 2 or 3 of those in a row to say that we have at least a temporary bottom. So you see here, if yield stays sideways to down, then look for a sustained rally up to 318 to 330 in the Qs. So that's all the way up here. That would be a real nice rally. And we'll talk more about rates in a second. Bank of America's net tab indicator hit positive 6 last week, marking the most extreme oversold reading available on that indicator. And this is a sentiment indicator. And this is a sentiment and positioning indicator, which you know how sentiment and positioning work, right? When everyone's super bearish and everyone is selling out, that's when you should actually be bullish. Because if everyone's sold out, there's only one thing left to do, right? Buy back in. Same thing if people are too bullish and everyone's out over their skis on leverage, buying up everything, then eventually there's only one thing they can do, which is sell. So that's how we use sentiment and positioning to gauge the market. So Bank of America's net tab indicator hit a positive 6. And the last time a positive 6 was hit was in March 2020. So extremely oversold levels. So Bank of America notes that average and median 52-week returns after this indicator hits plus 6 are 17.5 and 18.7%. So pretty good. The market rallies pretty hard after it was oversold this much. And 92% of the time the S&P was up. And this bodes well for US equities because the S&P also tends to rally from the June 30th in the midterm year through June 30th of the third presidential cycle year. So seasonality is already in the market's favor, plus this huge oversold level. The percent of S&P stocks trading above their 200-day moving average fell below 20% last week. And the index was also trading more than 10% below its 200-day moving average itself. These are extreme readings, and they typically precede a major low or temporary low within a recession-driven bear market. So that's exactly what we were saying before, right? Either a major low or a temporary low. We're still waiting to see what happens. And this reading right here is, again, like a breath reading. So it's the same idea. idea, if you have that many stocks falling, you get to those oversold levels and then we'll turn around from there. That's where a durable bottom can be placed. There have been 25 instances over the past 25 years of this happening. 21 of these saw gains over the following month with an average positive return of almost 6%, and 3 traded lower with an average return of negative 10%. But those 3 losers were all in the '08 crisis. So again, odds are on for us to head higher from here. Here's an interesting chart showing earnings estimates and how they're keeping up with what the S&P is doing. And you can see the red line here with earnings has not fallen with the S&P. Earnings estimates are still elevated. And this is typically what we see in markets because analysts are always behind what's actually happening. And then they end up chasing the price. But based off this huge discrepancy between price and their earnings in the total market, the market has definitely over discounted how much earnings are going to decline. And when the market over discounts something, then the bar is really low. So when the earnings actually come out and they're bad, but not as bad as the market was predicting, then what are you going to get? You're going to get a market rally. Because again, markets are all based off expectations. And that works on the good side and the bad side. So on the good side, if they're expecting a certain level of earnings and a certain company has positive earnings, but below that level, you're going to see that stock price take a dive. You always got to exceed earnings. On the downside, that means, oh, everyone thinks it's going to be really bad, and the earnings come out and it's bad, but not that bad, you'll see a rally. So it's all based off expectations. And gaps of this magnitude between earnings and what the market is actually doing have only occurred during or immediately after recessions over the past 3+ decades. Moving on to oil, crude oil, it's retraced 15% from its recent highs. And this coincidentally or not happened right after hedge funds piled into the oil and energy stocks last month. So us at MacroOps, we're long-term energy bulls, but we're also traders, so we want to protect our downside, especially in uncertain environments like the one we're in now. So over the past month or so, we've pared down our energy longs as the odds of a recession have risen materially due to the Fed's aggressive shift. But now oil is down near its lower Bollinger Band within a bull quiet regime. Bull quiet meaning that we're going to trend higher over time. So this gives us a technical inflection point to place a trade. So what we could do here is place a buy stop right above Friday's highs and let the market pull us in if it bounces above it. And then place a sell stop right below that candle. So we get to go long on a move above or flat or short on a move below. That's the benefit of using technicals with your fundamental analysis because you get these inflection points to trade on. And depending on where this breaks is going to tell you where the market is going. So you buy if it breaks above, sell if it breaks below. So you're always going with the trend because at the end of the day, price is king. We got the same kind of situation in the Euro USD. So right now this pair is deeply oversold and cheap across every metric. So our bias is long here. But Europe also has higher recession and geopolitical risk, so there's a good argument for a bearish break in this pair as well. Again, major technical inflection point, right? So what's great about these inflection points is that we can wait for the price to tip its hand and give us a signal. And these signals typically precede sizable moves where you could really make some money. And that's all we really care about as traders, right? We don't care about our fancy theses. Even though we constantly write about them, we're ready to drop them in a second. Price is king. So once again, we got a buy stop and a sell stop. Whichever way it breaks, we're going to play it. We just know that a move is coming. Now going back to equities in the stock market, the major thing to watch for a durable and tradable bottom is yields. Because we've talked about this in previous videos. If yields keep rising, we're not going to get a bottom in the market because higher yields really screws up stocks. So last week in the MacroOps portfolio, we actually bought long bonds because there were signs that a bottom may be in or a top in yields. Because bond prices go up, yields go down, yields go up, bond prices go down. They're inversely related. So if yields can hold here, meaning they trade sideways to down, then we should see that decent rally in the indices. And we might get really huge rallies in some of the more beaten down and hated growth names. Like Carvana is one of them that we bought in the MacroOps portfolio. C Limited is another one of those names. We talked about this in previous videos. The stock is down over 80% from its recent highs. It's put in a 3-wave bottom and is wedging tight after reversing off a long-term support, which is this green line right here. The company is cheap and we think it has a good pathway to some good free cash flow. And they have a solid balance sheet too, so we'll probably put in a position on this one. And again, this is C Limited, SE. So to sum it all up for the stock market, we have negative sentiment and positioning, a deeply oversold breadth, and a potential 3-wave push bottom at a support level. And you can see here, here's the 3-wave push, and And we got this reversal at this last major support level. So that's a good sign. And you can also see on the monthly, we got that reversal off that significant support. And there's only 4 trading days left in this month, right? So this week's close should be a big tell on where the rest of the summer is likely to trade. So right now we have the conditions and a setup for at least a short-term bottom, but yields and liquidity are still the major headwind. Bonds put in a potential bottom last week, but we need to see these yields trade down or sideways in order for a rally in equities to have the staying power. And that's the thing to watch. And also a number of beaten down growth names show potential bottoming action. So here's a good spot to try and add back some risk, meaning buy some positions. But we're going to treat this as a bear market retracement until we see indications that the Fed will turn more dovish, which we expect to happen by the end of the summer. So it's a game of watching these yields. We need to see these bonds rebound in price. That's the only way this rally that we're getting in equities will hold. So things might be good, but we got to wait and see. Because again, remember what happened last time when that inflation print came out. Something could happen this time too. We'll have to see. And a lot of this yield stuff also affects the housing market, which I've been getting a lot of questions on. So I made a video about that right here. A lot of people have been texting me, when should I buy this house? When should I sell this other house? What's going to happen with inflation and yields and everything? So click this video right here and we'll talk about it there.